Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Az and it is time for Gianni's team selection ahead of game week 20. You're looking very warm and cosy today, Gianni. How are you feeling?
Yeah, mate, I'm feeling warm and cozy, and I'm feeling warm and cozy about my FPL team as well.
Oh,
Because this video goes out on Thursday. Thursday night it will be a big night for me because I'll have my captain playing. I'll have a few others, and I'll be looking ahead to what will be a really exciting double game week. Who knows if we'll know more about doubles moving forward as well by the deadline. But yeah, it's a good time in FPL because so many of us are going in slightly different directions around chips we're using, transfers we're using. Some have got two frees. I do, but again, I'm I'm still considering a hit. It's a fun time.
I'm interested to know what you're going to do because you sent me your team over. You put a couple of things in, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that. I mean, you know, people. I mean, I've got Pereira captain coming tomorrow. you've
Love
got
that.
you've got Havertz. Obviously, a lot of the Mitrovic captainers will be disappointed. That's about it, though, isn't it? I mean, Rashford was captained. Haaland, obviously, not.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be. There's not going to be too many more captains, I would say, playing tomorrow. So
A few might have gone Mason Mount,
yeah,
but again,
maybe.
like he blanked in the first, didn't play. He's fit, so he'll play against Fulham. But yeah.
Andreas Pereira. I still can't get over that I actually did that. Right, let's get straight into it then. Let's have a look at your game week 19 so far. So you are currently on 48 points. You've got Kepa to play, Trippier with, I think it's his 12th return in 15
Oh, of
matches.
course it is. He
Absolutely
gets
ridiculous.
bonus in everyone
Gets
as well.
bonus. He's the perfect player. Isn't he? Cancelo, interestingly, with one, been burnt by him, just like I have been. Shaw with 15, identical backline to me, actually. De Bruyne with 3, another disappointing return from him.
Assisted the assist, shock.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing lately. Creating chances, not being converted or assisting the assist. Martinelli with 3, Rashford with 8, my boy Andreas with the one sub before 60. That was annoying.
I think that's the first time he's been sub
I
before 60
know.
all season, isn't
Well,
it?
that's just this season, isn't it? That's just my season in a nutshell. That's why I haven't got my rank on the screen. Darwin up top with Haaland, and your big differential is Mr. Kai Havertz as
That's what
your
we do.
captain. That's what we do, as Gianni says, and some kids somewhere on the streets, I imagine. White on your bench with 7.
Oh yeah,
Almond with
thanks
2.
Cancelo for coming on for the 1 pointer.
Yeah,
I think a lot of us had the Cancelo White thing though.
yeah. I mean, 48 points. You're in decent. You're on a red arrow at the moment, but you've got a couple of players left to play. You should get a small green. Well, it depends
I'd
on
like to think
Havertz.
so.
If Havertz goes mad, you should get a big green.
Yeah, that's a massive if. I mean, look, if Havertz gets 2 points, I'll get loads of the Mitro captainers telling me that I should have gone Mitro captain. Well, I would have gone Mitro captain if I'd owned him, but I if Havertz gets 2, he then gets 8 for the game week for me, whilst Mitro would have got 10, but I'd have had to take a -4 to get Mitro in and major
Yeah.
surgery. So I'd still feel like I was up, even with Havertz's 2 appearance points. So I'd love a return. In that first game, it is worth noting against Man City, when Chelsea hit the post, that would have been a Havertz assist. So I can feel already a tiny bit unlucky, but don't worry, I'll continue with that narrative if he blanks versus Fulham.
It's a disappointing front line, though, isn't it? I mean, Darwin with 1, obviously had that goal disallowed. Haaland with 2, he was kind of kept quite quiet, and then Havertz with 2. So you've got a lot of money up top, and then De Bruyne in your midfield who also blanks. Kind
Yeah.
of your only real points came from Rashford, Trippier, and Shaw.
Yeah, and Shaw was my transfer in, so that works really well. The other transfer I rolled, I considered going Darwin to Mitro. That was the big call, right? And it wouldn't have been for a 4, but I judge every transfer on 4 points because we'll inevitably be taking hits always fairly soon, always just around the corner. So I didn't go Darwin to Mitro, and I'm pleased with that. Not just because Mitro got yellow carded and there was drama there, and sure, I'd had a few more points if I got Mitro, but watching Darwin again against Brentford and watching him in the cup the other day where he did get a goal, thank goodness. He's a player that I still want in my team. I cannot ignore that expected data. The underlying stats don't lie, and in
Sorry,
fantasy football,
are you,
yeah, I'm
Are
talking
you are
data.
you Gianni or Seb? Who am I doing this stream with?
You know what it is? I can't get past the point that Darwin just passes the eye test time and again. That's
Mm.
what I should say. But it's both those things, right? And he does say you see the chances flocking there. And if I owned Salah and was staying on Salah and owned Darwin and Salah, there'd be a decision to be made. I'd want to get rid of one of my Liverpool attacking assets.
Mm.
But for me, I'd be selling Salah before Darwin. And look, I don't have Salah, and therefore I want Liverpool attack covered. And Darwin feels like a very safe bet in my team still, regardless of the fact that he's been blanking. I just know goals are imminent.
Yeah. And what about De Bruyne though? I mean, it's blanks. I've got him as well. It's blanks, consecutively since the season restarted. City have been a bit funny. They had that draw against Everton. Pep is he's in full Pep mode, isn't he? Especially in defence with who's going to start in that. But also in attack as well. I mean, Foden came back in but wasn't playing. Mahrez is now people are talking about. But De Bruyne he's been a bit off it. He's been unlucky to blank so many times, but he had a poor game in the last match.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 blanks, isn't it, off the back of the World Cup? But in those 3 games, he's still creating chances. Haaland missed a couple, I think, game week 17. His XGI, I think, it was pretty high. I feel like I read on Twitter the other day, Darwin and KDB are the 2 players since the restart that have underperformed their XGI more than any other. And there's no surprise there. You watch Darwin, you see it, but also when you see some of the balls KDB's put through to Haaland early on, that Haaland missed a few sitters in that game week 17. No surprise again. I'm very set on De Bruyne. Man City have 2 double game weeks in the next, 4 or 5 weeks. Double in 20, we know, but also double in 23. Therefore, you're getting 2 additional fixtures on what we already know about Salah. Liverpool could get 1 double, but at the moment, that's not confirmed. But also, what we like about De Bruyne, 90 minutes guaranteed. There are only 2 players in that City team that, in terms of FPL interest, players that we want to buy in FPL. From all that pool of players we like at Man City for FPL, the only 2 you can say are absolutely nailed every week are Haaland and KDB, and they're also nailed for 90 most weeks. Haaland might get a few where he comes off slightly early. But again, they've had rests in the cup. They play Wednesday night, which is before we film this, so we don't know. But in the FA Cup, they had, I think De Bruyne was left out. Haaland the same. So it's good for their minutes. X minutes, I'll back them. The points will come.
I mean, the 3 obvious City players for this double gaming for me are De Bruyne, Haaland, and Ederson. If I was to pick 3,
Ederson or Stones are the only 2 safe bets now in that back line.
Stones is doing Black Box tonight with Mark, and he's going to wax lyrical about John Stones. I just think it's so dangerous to go with any of those defenders, because you've got 4 defenders for the centre back spots, and then you've got 2 good defenders in each of the full back spots as well. So, Lewis coming in, he was excellent in their FA Cup game. So yeah, I don't know. I don't trust any of them.
The beauty of Stones is, I guess, with Diaz out injured, it's one of the right-sided centre-backs, but Akanji right-sided centre-back too, can play right-sided centre-back. But I think it was against Chelsea when Akanji came on. Ake was left-back, it was Akanji left-sided centre-back, Stones right-sided centre-back. And it was Stones who got man of the match, player of the match.
He's been really good. He's
3 bonus. Yeah. He feels like flavour of the month. And Pep goes through phases of benching Laporte.
Yeah.
He goes through he went through a phase of benching Diaz last season, and he's gone through lots of phases of benching John Stones, but there's always a flavour of the month there, and it's been all those 3 players. It's been Akanji. It feels like it's Stones at the minute.
No, I do agree with that, and it would be very harsh to drop Stones for a couple of games, given how good he's been for England, and then he's come back in and doing really well for the side. It's just, you just don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah, that's right. And he's only 1 bad game away from probably going, okay, now you're going out for a phase and Akanji's starting, or Diaz starts when he's back.
Again, I think it depends on your bench, isn't it? I mean, Patterson's a problem for us. We've both got him. He's obviously now injured for a bit. That takes up one of those spots. I mean, I've got Patterson and Bueno, for example. So if I went for a Stones alongside that, I've got very little good coverage. You've got White, so you're a bit better set up. But
yeah, I can take a risk there because I've got White. I can take a risk on a Man City defender that perhaps is a lot cheaper than John Stones, that still might get 50% of the games, and that is Rico Lewis. We'll talk about that. Rico Lewis enables me to do what I think I want to do, and at 3.9, I don't need him playing every game. I also think there's a fairly low chance that he comes off the bench, comes on. And I know against Chelsea, Cancelo started and Lewis came on at half time. I don't think we'll see that much. And because there's lots of other games for Man City, they might look at some of those Premier League games, like Wolves next week and Forest coming up, and single game weeks, where Lewis gets those easier games. And look, maybe he gets the difficult games as well. But if he's going to get 50% of minutes and rarely come on for the 1-pointers, and he's your 4th or 5th defender, I think you can do that because you just start, White. If he's coming in as your 3rd defender, I wouldn't go near Rico Lewis. But the way my team's set up, unlike yours, where you've got 2 enablers already, Cancelo out to an enabler works because I'm going to want to start playing Ben White week in, week out soon anyway. He's only been on the bench because they've had tough fixtures. So, yeah, it's an interesting decision to make.
Cancelo is interesting, isn't he? I mean, we never thought his place would be under threat. Obviously, he got sent off against Fulham, played against Brentford, which they lost. Goes off to the World Cup. Didn't really kind of lost his place in that team as well, didn't he? Came back, didn't start against Leeds, doesn't start against Everton, and then gets hooked at 45 minutes against Chelsea. So he's clearly not in.
After playing right wing.
Yeah,
Pep even played him
what was
right
that
wing in the
about?
front three.
What was that about? I saw that lineup and I thought, have they just got this wrong? This is the flash scores people. And then when he was playing there, I was like, oh, this could be good. And then he was terrible and subbed off at half time. Interesting. There's something strange going there. So is Cancelo a sell for you this week?
He's a hard sell. He's a hard sell because there's so much money in there. Look, Man City play Wednesday night before we record this. After we record this, and Cancelo could go and start and have a worldie. He'd have to have an absolute worldie for me to consider keeping him. But at the moment, with the information we have, he's a hard sell. The fact he didn't play in the FA Cup either, like that's the time to give him minutes.
Yeah.
And he played the new left back, can't remember his name, and then he played Walker, I think, at right back. So yeah. So
he'll start tonight, won't he? I mean, we could be completely wrong. We were recording this at 2:00 on Wednesday. I would imagine that Cancelo plays in this game, and I'm keeping him. I'm hoping for one start. I think I'd be lucky to get one start out of him with two difficult games coming up.
Yeah, I think look, if you've got other fires and you need to keep him because he's got a double game week. And I wouldn't be surprised to see one start, but I would be very surprised if he got two starts.
Yeah, so would I. Yep, absolutely. Right, let's take a look at your team then for game week 20. So this is how you're currently set up. You've got Kepa in goal, Trippier, Cancelo and Shaw. You've got De Bruyne, Martinelli, Rashford, Almiron, Darwin, Haaland, captain, not triple captain, we'll talk about that in a sec, and Havertz. Then on your bench, Ward, Andreas, White and Patterson. You're in a very good position now. You've got 1.2 million in your bank because you've got money to spend and you've got 2 free transfers. What are you thinking?
I am thinking Harry Kane. Kane's fixtures aren't great, we know that, but you can spin the narrative how you want. You can say they're not great, or you can say he always scores against Arsenal. You could say Tottenham always do well against Man City because they get to play on the counter and they don't have the ball much, and that suits Son and Kane. And you could say that after the double game week, Harry Kane has a really nice fixture coming up. I think they play Fulham, don't they? So again, another reason to go there. He's been unbelievably consistent this season. I owned Harry Kane pretty much up to the World Cup in what was a freemium team. I had freemium. I know very few did. And it kind of worked for me. I've not had the best season, but I sort of held my own with a freemium draft. And I'm thinking if I go Harry Kane, I'm back to the freemium. And I could have Kane and Darwin, which is sort of like a 3.5-ium. Is that a word?
So what would you do? Would you do Havertz to Kane and Cancelo down to Lewis then? Is that the thinking?
Yeah, so if Havertz goes to Kane, I've got 4.4 to spend on a defender. So the plan would be Cancelo to possibly Botman, right? The issue I've got is Botman and Kane are likely to both go up in value by the time I want to make my transfers. And I don't want to make my transfers till I've seen Chelsea play Thursday night. So probably not till Friday. And also with double game week, potential announcements Friday. So I'm not making transfers till probably Friday earliest. And by then, Kane and Botman will have probably gone up in value. They keep threatening to go up. I'm surprised they've not gone up already.
Does that price you out?
So it prices me out. I literally have 4.4 for a defender.
You've got to do it then. You've got to do it.
Well, or I just don't go Botman and go, okay, I go to a 4.3 defender or a 4.4 defender that's not going up in value, or I go 3.9 to Lewis. So that's one option, right? The other option is the Man City defender I really want is John Stones. The defender I really want to replace Cancelo with is John Stones. I can get John Stones if I don't sell Havertz to Kane and I go Darwin to Kane. So Darwin to Kane, Cancelo to Stones works. But I don't want to sell Darwin, as I've just said. The only reason I might sell Darwin is if Havertz goes and scores a hat-trick against Fulham. Which is why I don't want to do my transfers. Another reason why I Chelsea fixture.
I much prefer the first option. Cancelo to Botman and Havertz to Kane. I think Havertz is...
Botman's a great long-term hold, isn't he?
Botman's a great long-term hold, and Kane versus Havertz, there's no comparison. You'd rather have Kane than that. I think Havertz could be an issue for you as well. Stones
I think he will be. I think Havertz is a massive issue, to be fair. He's been rubbish.
I think there's just the second one, there's risk. There's risk with Stones, there's risk with keeping Havertz, there's risk with selling Darwin. But doing Cancelo to Botman and Havertz to Kane, there's no risk. That's just two good moves. I think that's an easy one.
I think I'm being a bit blinkered by the double game weeks because Botman feels sensible, right? Botman doesn't have a double coming up. That's the only thing that puts me off. It's like I could get 4 points for Stones just off appearance points, but I can't forget that Newcastle's defence, and again in the cup games they've had recently, clean sheets, clean sheets, clean sheets. Like this team is on lockdown, and they play Fulham, Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth. It's a great fixture run. By going double Newcastle defence, I'd actually for once be rewarded with points, because at the moment we never are. We've just got Trippier. So it's but I could go Lewis though. There is something saying go for a punt on Lewis, because I think he plays that Wolves game in game week 21. And even if he gets one in the double, I think if I see Lewis minutes tonight and how Pep treats him perhaps in the game on Wednesday night, that could affect my decision. What I might end up doing though is making that call tonight based on what I see from Cancelo and Lewis and John Stones. And then obviously knowing Kane and Botman are both going to go up in price.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess that what Seb always says is like letting the outcomes decide your decisions, right? So if Seb was here, wise old Seb, he would be saying it doesn't matter if Havertz gets 60 points,
a hat-trick or not.
Yeah, against Fulham, the right option there is to sell him, and sometimes there's sense to what he says.
Occasionally. I mean, if Havertz does go and get a hat-trick against Fulham and he's about to play Crystal Palace, probably the worst defence at the moment in the league, at Stamford Bridge, you would be foolish to sell him that week. Fair enough, the decision to bring Kane in over Havertz should be made eventually, but I disagree with Seb, who's one of my favourite FPL managers out there. I'd be like, no, he's just scored a hat-trick, mate. That'd be ridiculous.
It's great, isn't it? That's the difference. It's similar to Rashford, right? Like Rashford is being talked about now as a captain option this week, and that's largely off the back of his 2 late goals against Charlton in the Cup last night. No one was considering it before, but now a lot of people are. We'll talk about the triple captain in a minute, but is Haaland's a lock, right? There's not messing around.
Yeah, and I find it entertaining that all season no one's wanted to go against Haaland for simple captaincy, and now people are talking about maybe triple captaining Rashford.
Yeah.
Behave. You're just doing it for easy likes. No one's actually doing that. You haven't captained Rashford all season, but you're going to give your triple captain to him. No, you're not. Triple captain with pretty much every manager that's watching this video, I'm sure the vast majority, that 99% are going to triple captain Haaland at some point, and a lot will go this game week. And I must admit, I'm really tempted. I'm probably more likely than unlikely to hit that triple captain button. I've not done it till now.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's a big statement.
Yeah, Jenny. I really am. I'm probably 60-40, 60 in favour.
That's just enough to give you a spot back on the fence if you need it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, because I've gone completely the other way. As soon as the double game week was announced and my team came in, I put the triple captain on them straight away. And then I've looked at the United at home have been
good,
unbelievable. 5 clean sheets in the last 5 games at Old Trafford. They've conceded very, very few goals like in the matches. They're a tight team with Varane there, and Shaw's got this new role, and Casemiro's playing well. And then Spurs. I mean, Spurs beat them twice last year. First game of the season, and then later on as well. So I just think Pep might set this up to be let's get some narrow wins. Yeah, there's not.
Yeah, we could see it.
I don't think
that's how they set up against Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't think exactly. I don't think we're going to see the Haaland that we saw against United earlier in the season when he got 23 points. It
just comes down to that early goal though. If they set up to defend still, or set up to get a narrow win, but happen to score in the first 20. And United have a go, that can soon become a 3-4-0 game. So it all comes down to the game state. But I'm with you. I think Pep is being Pep, and he does throw some weird selection and tactics out there in the bigger games. Ask City fans about the Champions League final when Chelsea beat them. He played Gundogan as his one and only DM, and benched, I think, Rodri.
I mean,
that's what Pep did. He played Cancelo right wing in a front 3 the other day, and it nearly backfired. Chelsea were actually unlucky, if you like, in the Premier League. In the FA Cup, City smashed us, but in the league it was a balanced game.
Yeah, it was. If you'd taken some chance in the first half, it could have been a very different.
Yeah, I mean, Havertz deserved that assist when we hit the post.
Yeah,
my captain.
I still can't believe Pep not playing a DM in that Champions League final.
It's mental.
I think about it every now and then, and just think, I'm not as good as Pep, but why did he do that?
He makes some bizarre decisions. I mean, many would say the best manager in the world. I'm not doubting that, but also some crazy decisions. But the Haaland thing, the reasons for doing it, I see loads of pros, and there's only one con. Now the big con, and it is a big one, is fixtures.
Mm.
United, Tottenham in a double, surely there's going to be better doubles, and there will be. City will get probably 3 or 4 doubles, better fixtures than those two. But what they won't get is the time off between games. I think this is a Sunday, Thursday, or maybe a Saturday. Yeah, it's the 14th to the 19th. So Saturday the 14th, Thursday the 19th. So it's good rest between games. They might not get a Haaland that's fresh going into it. He's just been rested in the Cup. He's had a World Cup off. They won't get no Champions League distraction if they wait till the business end of the season. And they won't get the Arsenal are still in touching distance for the league.
Mm.
There might be a case where if you wait, Arsenal are already 12 points clear and Pep goes, I'm playing Alvarez because there's a Champions League semi-final around the corner. Sure, they've got 2 good fixtures on paper, but Haaland's going to start one of them. Be so annoyed if you triple captain Haaland, he only starts 1 out of the 2. So yes, the opposition's poor. We don't want that when we triple captain Haaland. But for all those other 4 reasons I've just listed, I genuinely think we have to seriously consider Haaland triple captain. And if I don't triple captain this week, I won't be waiting till later in the season for the reasons I've just mentioned. I'll be going game week 23, where we know he plays Tottenham and Aston Villa. The only concern there, he plays Aston Villa and Arsenal. The only concern in 23 is that double. There's 1 less day recovery time. 2, it's Sunday, Wednesday. But also before that, they play an FA Cup game versus Arsenal.
Mm.
So going into it, he's going to play that game. So I think for the reasons mentioned, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean the difficulty is, I mean, we're talking about Haaland being set for a triple captain, right? And that is because there's so few captain options other than him each week. Like, you think if we're gonna be captaining Haaland every week between now and the end of the season, you would argue that this is the best week to do it because you've got those guaranteed 2 games. The only argument I can think of is there going to be a better double for a different player?
For a different player, that's fair. But then we don't even captain different players.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
Not only are you then going for a different captain, which we're not doing, you're going against Haaland, who's then going to be triple captain probably in that week or in a similar week as well. So it is difficult. I think the safest play, in my opinion, is to triple captain him this week.
It seems sensible.
If you're doing well, if you're holding rank, if you're doing all the things that we talk about that we never do, I think it's a very, very sensible play to use it this week. I am going to wait, I think, just because I don't think he's going to score huge hauls in those 2 games. And for me, that's what the triple captaincy comes down to. It's just purely just about how many points you think that player's going to score. And I don't think this is the best week for Haaland.
We are going to get some big double game weeks too. And I question in those big doubles, I don't want my hands tied around going free hit, wild card, bench boost. If triple captain is obvious in game week, whatever, I know 32, whatever it is, and I'm like, but I really want a wild card then, or I really want a free hit then. I don't tend to free hit in blank game weeks like most. I know the book would say.
The book.
That's funny, isn't it? It's not my book, but
you didn't even mean that, did you? Come on, get it out.
I'm looking at it. It's outrage. The book would say, the textbook would say, you always use your free hit in the small blank double game, in the small blank game weeks. I never do that because I like free hit with upside rather than like going to protect. So I'm like, I'll take a 20-point. I'll be 20 points down on the field because I won't use my chip that week and I'll have 7 players play. That's fine because I'm going to use my free hit in a big double when no one else is, and I'm going to get 11 players playing twice. Most perhaps only get 14 or whatever instead of 22. So again, if I hold that triple captain, there might be that obvious Haaland game week out there, but that might be the week I want to free hit or bench boost or wildcard. So again, another reason to go early on it. It kind of makes it easier for me to perhaps think a little bit differently with chips later in the season if I go now.
Okay, interesting. 60-40.
I reckon I am 60-40. Do you know what? I said
up to 70?
No, I don't think I don't know. I am talking myself more.
You are. I can tell.
Do you know what will happen though? This is my theory. I saw a poll from, I think it was FPL Salah, had 10,000 votes. Huge poll on Twitter. And I think I read this on Monday. Who's going to triple captain Haaland? There was 3 options. The I'm going to do it was only 10%, right? So 10% of the FPL community said they're going to triple captain Haaland. I reckon by Friday, we'll be at more than 50%. And I reckon that will be for exactly the same reasons why people bought and captained Mitro. Loads sold Martial, who had a good fixture and possibly a double game week very soon. They did get a double game week. Loads sold Darwin, who they loved the unexpected data for. to get Mitro. Now, I think Mitro was the number one captain option. I wanted to buy him, but I didn't, right? But loads were willing to sell players that they really believed in, Darwin and Martial, to get Mitro and captain him for two simple reasons. Fair enough, loads of them said he's the best captaincy option. They had to get him in their teams. But I did a poll on Twitter, and 55% of them said they did it because of FOMO ads. And that is why 10% will go to 50% on triple captain Haaland by Friday, because you'll see a couple of big content creators. I don't know, what's Andy doing? What's Let's Talk FPL doing? Because whatever he does, there'll be thousands of people that follow. If he captains Haaland, triple captains Haaland, there'll be thousands that want to do the same. Copy's the wrong word.
They won't be copying us, Gianni, if you've got any sense.
Yeah, well, I'm saying I'm going to do it. I'm not expecting people to follow, but just throwing it out there that I think we'll probably see a couple of the big names go for it, and therefore 10% becomes 50%.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
It happened with Mitro. It was hilarious. I saw so many people saying they weren't going to do it, and they did it with Mitro.
I'm expecting Haaland's effective ownership to be over 200%.
So unless you triple captain him, you want him to blank, even if he's got the armband.
That's what I think. I just think casual people are going to see sorry to use the offensive term, but people like my friends from uni are going to see that Haaland has a double game week and not even think about it. They're not going to look at the fixtures he might have in the future or anything. They're going to see he's the best player in the league. He's got a double game week. I'm going to triple captain him. And sometimes that's the simple logic you need to use with it. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's like you say, I think this is an interesting divergence of thinking and strategy, and I think I like that kind of thing. Like Cancelo, what to do with him, which defenders to go for. Looking at the heavy hitters, Kane, Darwin, De Bruyne, losing faith with some of those. Should be an interesting last part to the season. Anyway,
it's going to be it's fun as well that it's still the Thursday night game, and then Friday night there is a game, so we have to make our transfers on Friday. I reckon I'm hopeful Haaland blanks on Wednesday night in the cup, because then fewer people will give him the armband. And going back to what Seb says, whether he banks or not shouldn't matter. If you think he's the best triple captain, do it. Don't let the outcome affect. What's the phrase? Don't let the outcome affect the decision. Something like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully he blanks, because I don't want him to be over 200%.
He won't.
Over 200% effective ownership players is boring. But you're right, he probably will be.
He won't play tonight. I wouldn't have thought Haaland.
He missed the FA Cup as well, didn't he?
That's true.
Yeah. Pep might want to give him 60 and just get some minutes in his legs.
Yeah, could play him. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, if he hits a hat trick in that, then
the world is dog wall triple captain.
Yep, absolutely. Right, excellent stuff. Yep. That was a really good discussion on that. Hopefully,
enjoyed that.
Everyone enjoyed it.
Can I just go back, because I know there'll be loads of Mitro captains watching this, and I don't want to offend anyone. Please don't think that I'm digging anyone out for captaining Mitrovic. I'm not. I said on numerous occasions, Mitrovic is the best captaincy option. And he was. And I know I had a dig on social media. Not a dig. I laughed at his booking, and I was pleased. And I was pleased he got booked. But if you went Mitro, you made the right call. It's just funny. I feel like, I know from my poll, 55% of people purely did it out of FOMO, and 45% did it because they thought he was the best option. But FOMO is real. It happens. And whether it's right or wrong, I get FOMO myself. So it's just an interesting discussion to have, I always feel.
I'm going to FOMO when Haaland's 210% effective ownership. I'll tell you that. It's going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it will be, mate.
Will. Excellent stuff, Gianni. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be back. I'm actually on holiday for the next 2 weeks. So you will be partnered up with Seb next week. And then it's the international break that isn't an international break. And then I'll be back with you the week after. So yeah, a few weeks.
I'll miss you, mate. You enjoy your time sunning it up in Mexico. And Seb and I will have a great time. Annoyingly, I'll be on with Seb, who probably going to have a better rank than me.
Yeah, that's why you want. If Havertz gets a hat trick tonight, that's going to be a very smug Gianni next week on the stream. That's what I'm saying. My Twitter on Thursday night, if Havertz blanks, everyone's going to be desperate for him to blank, so they can say, "Oh, you should have gone Mitro." But yeah, if he gets a return, you'll know about it. I've got the perfect thumbnail for smug Gianni. So.
Of course you have. Send me that.
Nice one. Thanks a lot, and thanks for listening, everyone. And we will see you very soon.
See you later.